In 2024, a total of 36,934 Nigerians submitted asylum applications to various countries abroad, according to the newly released data from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. This surge in applications underscores growing hardship and instability within Nigeria, challenges that many attribute to conditions under the administration of President Bola Tinubu. The top destinations for Nigerian asylum seekers included Canada, Italy, and the United Kingdom. However, a significant majority of these applications were rejected, with an overall dismissal rate of 74%. Approval rates were notably higher in less conventional destinations such as Chad and Tunisia. Breaking down the numbers further, Canada received 13,222 applications, but approved only 2,196. Italy had 4,292 filings, with 650 approvals, and the UK saw 2,841 claims with only 446 grants of asylum. Other nations, including Ireland, the United States, Germany, France, and several other across Europe, Africa, and Asia, also recorded substantial numbers of Nigerian asylum seekers. Now, commenting on this trend, former Nigerian ambassador to Singapore, Obolo Amedu Ode, described the influx as indicative of Nigeria's worsening economic and security situation. He observed that economic challenges are a major driver behind the mass departure, explaining that many Nigerians are adopting a Japa mindset, a colloquial term for seeking to leave the country in search of better prospects. Ambassador Amedu warned that unless there is a significant improvement in Nigeria's economic conditions, this trend of seeking asylum abroad is unlikely to abate, reflecting the deepening challenges faced by many Nigerians at home. Well, Mr. Due Process, let's have your take on this.
Yes, like you said, it's not perfect for bad governments. The worsening economic situation in the history of Nigeria, we've never had it this bad. The inflation, the insecurity, the unemployment rates, everything is worsening. So the young people now find alternative for themselves to travel out of the country. That's the whole essence of and one of the legal means to achieve this was through asylum. Asylum is provided to make room for emergency travel out of your own country where you are facing political witch hunt, for instance, as a politically exposed individual who the government trying to clamp down for your stance on human rights and stuff like that. So on this ground, yes, individuals, citizens of such country have a window, otherwise referred to as asylum, to travel out of their country in order to save their life. Also, individuals that are facing life-threatening threats by virtue of what they stand for, whose life has come under severe threats, they seek asylum to travel out of the country. I could remember during the era of President Obasanjo, Charles Taylor was granted asylum to stay in Calabar for some years, right? Because he became an object of attack after he was forcefully removed from office in Liberia. So these are some of the windows that's created for asylum. We grant home away from home, but the surge, the asylum application from Nigeria is a direct exposition of the fact that The home ground, the country, is not doing well. It's not doing well. There is no question about that. There are no employments. As a matter of fact, there is an embargo placed on employments among ministries and parastatals across the country. There is no any employment going on anywhere, right? And the entrepreneurial aspect of it that they should have come in to provide employment through small scale medium enterprises have been knocked out by inflation, knocked out by bad government policy, and a lot of businesses are struggling. As a matter of fact, there are more companies that have left Nigeria than those that have come into the country for the past 2 years. A lot has happened in this country that there is no security for their expatriates, no security for their workers, and the economic situation is biting hard. The inflation rate is unbelievable, unbelievable. It's beyond what is being reported. The inflation rate in Nigeria is close to 40%. So all these inflation statistics they are taking is not a true reflection. So a lot is happening in this country that when you put the calculation together, at the end of the day, the citizens stand no chance to survive. As it is in Nigeria today, they are earning anything less than 500,000. There's no way you cannot run into debt. Starting from your house rent, your transportation cost, your feeding cost, every other thing put together, school fees of the kids, minimum of two, for instance, school fees pay not less than 100,000 per kids, or 70,000, 80,000. You will have to buy books, you prepare their lunch. When you put all this summary together, you realize that even the 500,000 you are earning, you are already a poor man. So the country is not designed to function. And that's the reason why people who feel they cannot, they put to endure it, die in the system, find a way, travel out. They are beginning to explore the asylum option, which make it overburdened for the host countries.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Christian. Ibrahim.
All right, Mr. Shukura, thank you for having me once again. I think my previous comment would have been better fit for this particular topic. But notwithstanding, I will add one or two to it. I believe, honestly speaking, as Nigerians, we should confront our own problem decisively and constructively, as I said earlier. By the way, as Mr. Oche said, by design, Nigeria is not supposed to function. Africa, by extension, is not supposed to function. That's why we are having all this kind of poor governance, bad leaders everywhere. I asked you this same question, Mr. Tochukwu. 54 sovereign states, and there is no single country that is working. Clearly, it is not a coincidence. It is clearly by design. Who made the design? Clearly, the imperial world that believe we are inferior to them, and we're supposed to serve them since our grandparents were their slaves. So why not today change the branding, change the name, come under the charade of liberty and exploit us in a negative way? That's how I honestly believe. I come to think of it that most of the leaders, or all the leaders that we regard as leaders, genuine leaders today in Africa, were not, didn't come through the scope of democracy. They were considered dictators. For example, the current Burkina Faso president come under a military junta, Ibrahim Traore. Not him. They had Thomas Sankara previously. Thomas Sankara was also regarded as a military dictator. Apart from Thomas Sankara, we have Patrick Lumumba in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was also considered a dictator, right? Not just that, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya was also considered a dictator. And these were people that today Pan-Africanists consider them leaders. Then clearly there must be something wrong with the system that we are practicing. And some of the Pan-Africanists believe that the only way out for Africa is to chart a new path. We should have our independent of the West political structure, military structure, and economic structure. Because if we don't have that, clearly we are doomed. The current world order is not favorable for African continent. We are supposed to serve beneath everyone, and we are serving them by design. And once you try to rise above, the system will be used against you. So it is very, very hard for African leaders through bullies. Clearly, we have seen leaders that they use bully to bully them to submission, coerce them to submission. So it is more harder than we think. And young Africans that are supposed to be the ones to bring back that, should I say, hope to the African continent, they are running away out of the country. So, and that's what Chinua Achebe rightly said, that we are not the children of Africa. We are the parents of Africa, yet on board. And history has charged us with the responsibility of giving birth to the Africa that we want. So we can't give birth to the Africa that we want through running away from the continent. We give back to the Africa that we want through standing, struggling to fight for the continent and rescuing it from the shackle of all the tyranny that these people have conditioned us for. Thank you. That's my contribution.
Oh, very wonderful contribution. Now, the majority of Nigerian asylum applications are rejected, primarily because applicants fail to meet the strict legal criteria defined by the receiving countries for refugee protection. Now, according to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, which many countries follow, asylum is granted only to individuals who can demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, nationality, religion, political opinion, or membership in a specific social group. Many Nigerian applicants struggle to provide convincing evidence of such persecution or credible danger of torture, risk to life, or cruel and unusual treatment if they were to return to Nigeria. Additional reasons for rejection include missing or incomplete documentation, failure to attend hearings, or submitting claims irregularly without proper authorization. Economic hardship alone, while a driving factor for migration, does not qualify as grounds for asylum, and many Nigerians seeking better economic opportunities are denied on this basis. Moreover, some claims are deemed speculative or lacking credibility, as seen in cases where applicants fail to substantiate their stories or show inconsistencies in their accounts. Now, what do experts say? They highlight that while the desire to migrate may be driven by deteriorating economic and security conditions in Nigeria, the asylum process requires strict adherence to legal norms, and those who do not meet these standards are rejected to preserve the integrity of immigration systems. Lastly, in some destinations countries, the asylum authorities are prioritizing accelerated processing for Nigerian claims, but maintaining high standards of evidence to differentiate genuine refugees from economic migrants. Hence, the high rejection rate reflects both the legal definitions of refugee status and the administrative rigor of asylum systems worldwide. All right, you're still watching DDM TV. This is where we draw to a close on today's episode. If you love this video, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more updates. We shall be here tomorrow morning for another exciting edition. Meanwhile, let me thank in a special way Mr. Due Process convener, Mr. Christian Ako Uche, the convener Due Process Integrity Group, and Mr. Ibrahim Umawase. Thanks for your contribution and time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers, that's it from me, Toshku Raphael. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.